What's up, everybody? Jason from Jason's Exotic Reptiles. Today, I want to take you through the future of my business, show you some of my 2023, 2024 holdback animals, and some cool projects I have behind the scenes. The first snake that I showed off in the intro was this bamboo rat snake. Super cool animals. Wants to bite me right now, but they have these really nice bellies. I did not produce this animal, but it's an animal that I wanted to bring into breeding projects. I just thought that these guys don't get enough love in the industry. Years ago, they took kind of an interest and they did peak, but they somewhat fell off the map. They're not going to be the next $10,000 morph. They never will be. But for me, it was kind of a personal challenge. I wanted to work on these guys. I wanted to breed them. And I think they can be really cool pets for people, for the right people. The next one we will show off is, I really like these Hypo Aztecs, or these Hypo IMGs that I made. So this specific one is a Hypo IMG, a redline Hypo IMG that is 100% het for blood. One of my goals for this project and the pairing that made these is that I wanted to make more IMG blood stuff. So I took a redline Hypo Aztec IMG, and I put it into a blood, or Hypo blood, and I made these. I held back most of the IMGs in the litter, and I really want to get these breeding for future projects. One of my projects that I'm super excited about, and I really am happy about these are a 2023 animal, but this is a type 2 ghost Inca. So it has the Inca genetics, it's also type 2 anathoristic, and it is hypomelanistic, all in one animal. I held back the majority of these because there's not many of them in the world. And when I produced them, I said I need to make more and I need to put them into other cool stuff. So this is one of my little prized 2023 animals. I actually have one available on the website at the moment for sale, but all the other ones I held back. I think a 4 or 2.2, so 2 males, 2 females. I want to show the male off because he is also super cool. Some of them might actually be super Inca. So this guy right here could be super Inca. There is still a controversy if there's Inca, if it's dominant, incomplete dominant, but I am pretty positive that Inca is incomplete dominant, and there is a super form, but identifying exactly what the super traits are is the challenging piece. So again, one of my really prized animals I'd call right here from 2023 season. I just love what the Ghost and the Inca is doing. Pure Nicaraguan lines, pure T positive, or I should say pure type 2 anathoristic from Nicaragua. These are originated from the original Inca lines that were imported from Nicaragua. This wouldn't be a complete video unless I showed off some of my Mayan stuff. So this is a 2023 blood Mayan. I am obsessed with the Mayan stuff. We're going to have to make a whole video on it. But what Mayan is doing in this specific animal is Mayan itself is just doing somewhat of a pattern variation. It's connecting these tail saddles. It's making these blocky floral type of pattern. And it just has a lot of iridescence that I hate saying this, but I'm going to say it. The camera almost never picks things up. It also does this really pixelated type of just pattern and body. It's hard to pinpoint exactly, but this is one of my favorite animals that I produced from that litter and held her back, and she's going to be a future breeder here. So blood Mayan, or a Hypo blood Mayan. A simple blood Mayan without the hypo. I wish she wasn't in shed because she's beautiful, but this is a blood Mayan in shed, so no hypo. And you can see that connected patterns, these connected patterns here, as well as those just kind of pixelated sides. And I wish she was out of shed because you'd see a whole lot more iridescence in this girl. What do we have next? So everybody knows I like blood stuff, and I did a litter this year of, it was a Aztec fire to a blood jungle, and I made these, or Hypo Aztec fire to a blood jungle, and I made these Hypo fire jungles that are 100% het blood. I'm not aware of any fire and blood in one animal. Maybe they are, but I figured, well, if I can't find them available, I want to make them. And these guys right here are just incredible examples. I would challenge anybody to find fires that look better than these, especially hypo fires. Then you throw that jungle. They're just ridiculous looking animals. So I'm super happy about those. Definitely part of my projects that I wanted to be moving forward in the future. one animal that I am very proud of, and I'll show another, I'll show the sister as I go further up the ladder, is this is a Motley Aztec. I gotta look at the tag, it's got so many genetics. Hypo Motley Aztec IMG 100% Het T positive albino. I'm super happy with this animal. This is a really cool animal, and the hypo did exactly what it was supposed to do in this by keeping some of the integrity of the pattern while still allowing this animal to turn super black. Definitely one of my favorites, and I wish that he was breedable now because I would have him breeding, but he needs another year and I don't want to rush him. Putting a visual T positive into this is going to be incredible. So we'll see where that brings us. What do we have next? These are super cool. So these are, I think you call them demons. I'm not actually sure what they're called, the actual combo morph name, but it's a type 1 salmon anatheristic blood. So a type 1 anatheristic hypo blood. This is the hypo blood that's anatheristic, and I want to show off the brother, which is this guy, which is a super hypo. So hypo, super hypo, anatheristic bloods. I don't think there's any other in the world other than this one here. I'm sure somebody has something somewhere that nobody knows about, but this specific guy right here is probably the only one in the world. And this specific one is probably only a handful of them in the world. I made these last year. I held back the visuals, and they're just incredible looking animals. It's blood, but somebody sucked all the saturation out, and look at the tail on that. I mean, that tail is just crazy looking. So we'll see where this project gets us in the future, but I'm very excited about where that's going to go. I held that back, and even just the simple ghost that came from that. So this is a type 1 ghost, is just an incredible looking animal. And it's not always about keeping the most gene-packed animals. I mean, this is a type 1 ghost that's het blood. It's a very common animal. I could have sold it and probably got, I don't know, $400 or $500 for it, but I really liked it. And it's an incredible example of what a ghost is. And that's how I build my breeding groups, is I'm always trying to push the limits of the morph, the base morph that you might be working with. It has that pixelation in the tail. I saw this animal come out, and I really didn't care if it was a $100 animal or a $10,000 animal. I knew that she was going to stay with me, and that's where she is now. One other that I want to show off on this rack, or I guess two others, is I want to show off a little bit more of that Mayan stuff. So this is a hypo possible super Mayan. This is the female, and this guy right here is the male. So female hypo super Mayan or possible super Mayan, and this is a, oh, sorry guys, they're fighting. Let's put her back so she doesn't kill this little guy here. And let's show this guy off. This is a hypo or possible super hypo super Mayan. Really just, this is where the super Mayan and the Mayan comes true, is you have this incredible chain-like connected pattern, a lot of iridescence, a lot of reds, just a very different looking animal. So a lot of people have asked me what is Mayan and what is super Mayan. Well, this I am almost positive, I'm still working through things, but this I am almost positive is a super Mayan. Just incredible pattern variations, a lot of speckling, just really rusty red color overall. I'm excited to get this guy into the breeding program. They're also dwarfs, so he's probably breedable right now. He's a 2023 animal, but he will stop growing significantly at this point. Amazing looking little guy, very happy about him. Let's go to a different rack. So we're now gonna move up a little bit. We're gonna go more into the 2023s, maybe some 2022s, because we have to show them off in these racks. The first one that I guess I will show off is one that I didn't produce, but I purchased, or I actually got into a trade for one of my Incas, is this VPI Snow Glow. So this is a VPI albino, hypomelanistic, anatheristic animal. Just really awesome looking. I was more impressed than I thought it was gonna be. The purples, the hues in this animal are just really cool looking. So I like VPI. I wish it was respected a little bit more, and people didn't overbreed it a couple years ago. but that's kind of what we're working with. The VPI was really bred heavily because it is so cool, and it really saturated the market a lot, which hurt the prices. This guy right here is another Mayan. I'll show him off, or this girl, because she's one of my 2021 Mayans, but really cool. You can see this is no hypo, and you can see what Mayan is doing is she has a bump on her head right now because she's been pushing. She's actually breedable right now, which is pretty incredible. She has follicles, so she's pushing because she wants to breed, and I am not going to put her into the breeding program. She's just too small in my opinion, but she could breed right now. Next up is, I mentioned I wanted to show the sibling to that really cool IMG that I showed off earlier. Well, this is a Redline Hypo IMG Fire Aztec Motley Het T positive. That's a whole lot that I needed to just read the tag. I can see everything in this animal, but it's a lot when you start looking at it. So this is that exact same animal, except you added fire to the mix. That's also 100% Het T positive albino. He is actually breedable right now, and I am really tempted to throw him in with the visual T positive, because anything that comes out of this is going to be incredible. So what fire did on this animal, interestingly, was sucked even more of that saturation out of the IMG. I think that this animal right now doesn't look as good as the other one we just looked at, but is going to be pretty incredible looking as it starts to grow. So something that I'm looking forward to watching this animal mature for a couple more years. And I think this is actually going to be the perfect combination where hypo could eventually lose some of its kick as the animal matures even more. I think that's going to keep me exactly where I want it to be. Another animal is, just to show you I have the basics, is this is just a sharp albino sunglow, or a sharp sunglow. There's nothing wrong with less expensive animals. They're elements and keys to a breeding program. As I mentioned earlier, you can't have every animal being pushing the limits of what you're doing. This is going to be a foundation animal for me. I can breed to Paradigm, Parahet, Paraglow. I can make more sharp albinos. It's just a really versatile animal, as well as being super pretty. I mean, the purple and colors on the sides of this, Tom, get a look at the sides. Those things are crazy looking. Is that not a beautiful looking albino animal? Tom likes it. Give me a yes, Tom. Give me a yes. Give me a yes. He's shaking his head. He's shaking his head. I got a yes. That was a nonverbal yes. Next, Hypo IMG Fire. So, similar to the animal we recently looked at, this is a Hypo IMG Fire. Without the Aztec and Motley. So still speckled, pixelated. I think it's super cool. If you like a dark IMG, don't put fire into it and don't put hypo, but you might as well just not do anything. You just give yourself an IMG, or do IMG to Motley, IMG to Aztec, but eventually you're going to just end up with a black snake. I like the variation and trying to suck out as much saturation I can while still giving the animal some really cool pattern and different types of color variation, which is what the fire is doing to these animals. So super impressed. This was a Hypo IMG litter that I did to a fire female, Fire Motley T positive, really jam-packed litter, but I'm very happy with that one there. All right, we're getting a little bit long, so let's keep going, but I have to show off some super cool stuff. You know, everybody knows I love my Mayan stuff. This is my own line of T positive, and this is what I'm calling Jason's Exotic Reptiles T positive, or JER T positive. This specific one here is a JER T positive hypo blood Mayan. I am not sure if this is mine or not. I don't actually believe this is mine. I think this is a JER T positive hypo blood T positive. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on in here, but definitely JER T positive in blood. Hypo is questionable, and I think that just incredible looking animal. I want to make more of these this year. I may be making more of these this year. I have the mom breeding again, and I have litter mates going, so we'll see if this one actually turns out to be the future. I think this is the future. We coming out with some names, potentially Goldie, Blondie. It's just names we named the animals, and this one might be another Blondie, so we'll see where that one takes us. And I have to show off, not that one. That one's nice too. This one's pretty cool. So this one's just a base JER T positive. So it's a JER T positive Sunglow, Hypo JER T positive. I really like this animal. It was from my Mayan lineage, and I mean, the more this animal matures, the better looking it's getting, specifically like these sides here. Tom, do I get a nod? Is this a cool looking animal? I got a nod. So we got just a really interesting looking animal. It's got this like purple iridescence that to me is really cool. So Mayan is my deal, and I'm just really happy to keep working with it. I want to show off a couple more because they're real cool. I mean, everything's real cool. What do we got? This is the one I was looking for. So the animal we just looked at, I believe this is what happens when you add Mayan into it. So this is a JER T positive sun glow that I think is Mayan. And you can see the pattern difference in this one versus the one we just looked at. Has those tail stripes, has these blushings and the connected saddles. Has a lot of iridescence that is maybe getting picked up, maybe not. And just a dwarf animal. I mean, this is a 2022, so small female. And just a lot of pinks, a lot of different hues that you don't usually get when you do similar genetics. So I'm just really excited to see how I keep pushing the Mayan project. For this year, I'm actually breeding Mayan for almost the very first time. I'm outcrossing it to other stuff. I'm doing Maya to Inca. I'm doing Mayan to blood. Well, actually not Mayan to blood. Mayan to Inca, Mayan to fire, Mayan to VPI. I'm just getting this Mayan gene into a lot of different other things because I want to see where I can push the traits in that whole genetic element. So maybe we'll switch gears one more time, go to babies. One of my most anticipated litters, which is kind of not actually anticipated, it was I thought this animal was going to die, is my Pearl Island litter. So this female looked absolutely horrible to the point where I was like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know if she even took, but she looks really bad. And I want to show off some of my Pearl Islands. I am so happy about these guys. Look at how cool they are. I'll show you different ones here. So I got a whole bunch of different Pearl Islands that are probably some of the most incredible Pearl Islands available on the market right now. I'm holding a whole bunch back, and being completely transparent, I don't know if I'm selling anymore. So this is, I did sell a handful. I only sold pairs, but look at how nice and clean and perfect that Pearl Island is. They're super hard to find in captivity now because everybody forgot about them. Everybody started working with boa constrictor, and Surnames and different types of BCI stuff or BCC stuff. People forgot about the boa constrictor saboge and different island locales that I think just kind of flew under the radar and fell off the map. So there's not a lot of them available anymore. Some of my cool colubrids that I want to work with a little bit more is, see if I can grab one that doesn't want to shoot away from me, is like these guys. These are my Volante. So these are also bamboo rat snakes, but they are a different locale of bamboo rat snakes. They're from China, and I think these are cool. So same thing, same bamboo rat snake that we kind of kicked this video off with, but different pattern variation. Not as bright orange, but if you like different locales and subspecies, I thought this was cool, so I added those to my group. They are more display snakes than anything. They're really high-strung animals, but super interesting, super cool little guys. The black milk snakes are something that I always liked. This guy's probably going to poop on me, but the incredible variation I get with my black milk snakes, it's almost a shame that they have to turn black, because this is just an unreal looking, he's going wild. Let me hold him a little bit further up. This is an unreal looking black milk snake, and every shed, these are the IMG colubrids, every shed it's going to go blacker and blacker until it's just a completely black animal. These are some, well, that one's in shed. Let me see if I can get a not in shed one. These are some 2022 black milk snakes, and they've almost completed their color transition. So these are siblings to the ones that are not siblings, but I guess older brothers to the ones that I just showed, that really cool looking black one. And you can see just a couple years go by and they're just a completely black animal, almost completely black. You can almost see some pattern peeking through. And again, it's a shame they have to lose all that color. The last couple I'll show in here are maybe some T-positive Brazilian rainbow boas. These are not necessarily holdbacks. I'll show my holdbacks in a minute, but these were just born. This was, if you guys watch my boa video ultrasound, my boa ultrasound video, I didn't know if these were going to make it. Well, these are the ones. They're eating, they're thriving. I have to take some pictures of them and put them on the website, but super cool little guys. Tiny little ball. You think that's a ball python, but it's not. It's a Brazilian rainbow boa. So everybody who says they're bitey and mean should watch my video, because that's not a bitey, mean snake. They can be, but I've had really good luck with the temperament of mine, and in terms of eating, they eat so good. So really pretty looking little ball python, Brazilian rainbow ball python. Couple more super cool stuff. Brazilian rainbow boa theme that I'm really happy about is this was a really expensive project that I took on years ago, and I just had to take the risk. But these are T-negative albino rainbow boas, and I ended up with a perfect litter of just amazing looking rainbow boas. There's not many of these around in the world. I'm keeping most of them. I do have, I think, one available for sale on my website, but even the hets are just incredible looking. I mean, in terms of a red rainbow boa, these hets are like just super saturated. So it's kind of interesting that I have the hets that are very saturated. This one's in shed, but they're just really pretty. And then you have the visuals that have no saturation in them. So that defies the ball python version of it. These ones I did notice were super cranky too, which is interesting, is that they were much more feisty than the T positive ones that we just looked at. So it gives you a cool contrast variation from a T positive animal versus a T negative animal. I think one more look at that, because that's a cool looking animal. Pretty, right? Give me another yes, Tom. Give me another yes. I got a nod. So we'll go on back to boas, because you guys know I'm a boa person. And one of my coolest animals is this one. This is a arabesque or VPI albino arabesque jungle. Have the jungle markers, overall super bright pastel looking animal, well as having that arabesque pattern into it. That's just an incredible looking, exactly what I was going for. And this, in my opinion, is better looking some of the hypo versions that I have. I'll show off the hypo version that I'm holding back. This is also a keep, but one of the hypo versions, I believe this is the one, in there somewhere. This is that same animal, but you threw hypo into it. So hypo arabesque VPI pink panther jungle. It took this might actually be super hypo, but the super hypo took out all the arabesque pattern, which I think is what makes that so cool. However, the pink panther makes this so crazy pink looking that I thought that these blotches were staining from the bedding when they were born. I actually tried to wash them off and I couldn't get it washed off, which is when I realized this is just a super saturated animal. As this animal grows, I'm really looking forward to seeing what he looks like, or she looks like. That's actually a male. Looking forward to see what he looks like when he's maybe 2 to 3 years old, and when he's 16 years old, I hope. Next one. Keeping on the Mayan theme. This is a picture perfect, super hypo, super Mayan. Complete lateral or complete dorsal stripe. Prominent head stamp, which is interesting. Really interesting side patterns, very red, rusty colored overall, and a lot of really cool iridescence. So this is one of my holdbacks. I've reproduced quite a few of these. I shouldn't say quite a few, but enough that I can tell that this is a genetic variation, is that this same pattern is reproducible, and I've been able to reproduce it multiple times. So that's going to be something that I look forward to watching grow and mature, because I have adults already, and I have those adults breeding and making more of those. Once I have a handful of them, I'm going to start letting those type of super Mayans available to the public. Right now, it's just Mayan right now that I'm having available. Another ones that I am keeping, they have these really cool that I made on purpose. So these are VPI or het VPI albino, but these are hypo, jungle, Inca, het VPI albino. I really want to get Inca into a VPI albino animal, and that's what these both are going to be doing for me in the future. I can't pair the two because it's jungle to jungle, but I do have some other non-jungle animals that I'm holding back, and I really wanted to just make these the future of my Inca projects. In addition to keeping them pure, I needed to start outcrossing and hit that morph game a little bit more, and I think that's going to do it for me. So the last couple that I will show off is I'm holding back some Dumerals boas. This one's a feisty little one, but I produce some really cool Dumeral boas, and they sell for me every year. Dumerals, as you can see, are not always super friendly. This one I just dug out of the bedding, really mean. I woke him up, so she's not happy at me. But I really like Dumerals boas, and I only have 2 breeding pairs, but I sell out every year, so I really want to try to increase my Dumerals presence. I'm holding these guys back so I can do that in the future and produce a couple more Dumeral litters. They produce smaller litters in general, and they're also, in my experience, they do better when you do them every other year. My boas, depending on their body tone and their health, I can get away with breeding them every year. Sometimes I got to do, every year, and then I give them a year off. But Dumerals really don't seem to be annual breeders. They seem to do better when I breed them every other season, or I might end up with a lot of slugs. And I don't want to waste the female for that. I don't want to stress her out, as my adult animals are the foundation of what I do, and they need to be happy and healthy. So I need to raise up more Dumerals to give more breaks to my babies. Couple more that I will show off because they're super cool, and I forgot they're actually down here, is these might be like the thing I was going for this year. So I spent a lot of money on these years ago. This specific one is a Paraglow Scoria that's 100% het for blood, and I don't know if there's any else like this in the world. It's also possibly Key West, so this might also be the only one in the world. It has the typical Scoria wobble. I've never personally seen a Scoria with 0 wobble. These are not terrible, but they do have that typical Scoria wobble. One might be the only animal in the world, as well as the Sharp Albino Scoria, or Sharp Sunglow Scoria Key West, that is also 100% het blood. This is a litter mate, so Paraglow, Sharp. And one thing that's kind of cool about this animal, but kind of nasty at the same time, is this one doesn't have an eye. So it has one eye, the other eye never made it, which is typical of albino stuff. He's hiding that little eye. We'll let him hide it. But it's a beautiful animal. The tail on that, take a look at that tail. Give me another nod, Tom. That's a cool tail. I'm getting a lot of nods. I gotta ask for them, but I'm getting them. So I kept back basically all the Scorias in this, in addition to some of the Hyposcorias. Like, come on, this is probably, tell me this isn't the best Hyposcoria that anybody's ever seen. So it's probably a super Hyposcoria, 100% het blood, and possibly Key West. And then this right here is a normal Scoria, also possible Key West, but these are 100% het blood. And para hets at the very least, so they're all kind of het Sharp Albino or het Boa Woman Caramel. Just really cool animals. I was very happy with these, and these are some of the ones that I wanted to see more than anything else this year. This was my 2024 peak litter. The most anticipated were these. Let me know in the comments below which one was your favorite snake that you saw today. Till next video, let's keep it moving.